Happy Sunday, everybody. Today is November 16th, 2025. Pretty short list this week, at least for the swing trades. Nothing else really caught my attention. First one that we have is going to be Kava, Cava. Currently super bearish. Been bearish for quite a while. Quarterly, monthly, weekly, all that good stuff is bearish. So we can potentially get a nice continuation to the downside off this 2-1 setup. The 45 puts look pretty good. You can go for 40 if you choose to. I just prefer to collect more of that premium for December monthly contracts or further. Let's look at some potential targets. Where is my tool? All right, so looking to the left, we have 440.80 as the first target that I would choose. Whoops. 42.65. You can use the body or the width, really doesn't matter, up to you. And then so on and so forth when it comes to these. Because the risk reward is a little skewed, you can always use half of the inside bar as your stop loss. Because if it comes up more than 50% after it triggered down, so let's say it goes 2-1-2 down and then it reverses back up. If it breaks more than 50% of the range, it's probably not going to work out in our favor and going to turn into a 3 bar to the upside or a failed 2 down. So something to keep in mind. So stop loss, we can either use the 50 fib right here or the 61. 61 if you want to give a little more room. And then, of course, other targets, whatever other lows we can take out. The ATR is about $3. So assuming it just continues heading straight down, we should at least hit the first target and a half, potentially um, the second one, if we get a decent bearish week again. The third target down here and the other subsequent targets can take at least 2 to 3 weeks to pan out, depending on how volatility is. So keep that in mind. In the event that instead we break to the upside, let's flip this real quick. Strat-wise, our first target, again, could be this wick or the body. Leave that up to you guys and what you prefer. However, the range between these two targets is a little wide, so we can get our fibs out and get some additional targets on the way there. So after that first strat target that we have here, we also have these additional fib levels that we can take some profit as it goes to our level, right? You don't want to be up 8 and 10 points and then have price reverse and come all the way back down. You're welcome to pause the video, see these levels and mark them out. Cool. Next we have is Microsoft. Nice inside week. Green inside week, last week anyway. This range is pretty wide. So I personally don't like swing trading Microsoft just because I personally don't really care for it, but some people do, so I added it to the list. As always, keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it. If I were to take this, my stop loss is probably somewhere on in the middle of the 50 fib. And then as always, just use strat targets. Again, keep it simple, whatever they may be. And then again, this range from this body to this wick target is pretty far. So I just draw a fib. And then we have some additional targets here on the way up there. So this will be for the long side if we're to break to the upside, for me anyway. On the other side, for the short side, if we break to the downside, same thing. Probably use half of this bar as my stop, about 9, 10 points, give or take. ATR is about $9 and change on average. So let's say $10 of movement a week. Keep in mind that if we open up around, let's say 509, it'll pretty much be almost the entire ATR to even head to the short trigger. So just keep that in mind. If we do break to the downside, nothing will probably happen this week unless we get a really bad bearish week. Might be at least 2 weeks until one of these targets are hit to the downside. To the upside, let's reverse this real quick. To the upside, we have about $6 left ATR wise, so we can probably hit at least target one this week if we break to the upside on Microsoft. Again, that is always subject to change because if we have a really volatile week, the ATR can definitely go more than 100%, right? Like this week, we got about $15. The prior week, we had about $31 movement. So just keep that in mind. We can definitely do more than what we're currently at based on last week. Let's look at some news. There we go. Nothing too crazy this week. We have orange folders tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. And FOMC member or Fed member speaks in the afternoon. So if you are trading in the afternoon, just be mindful of that. Nothing too crazy on Tuesday, just yellow folders. As always, be mindful for any big news events that may come out. If Trump says something, hopefully you're on the right side of the direction that it wants to go to. Wednesday, oil traders, as always, keep in mind for crude oil inventories, comes out at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. We have the FOMC minutes. Again, this is not the FOMC event, so don't expect anything crazy like the actual event. This is simply just a recap of what we already know. Thursday, we have data pre-market at 8:30 a.m. So for you futures traders, be mindful of that. We got non-farm employment change and unemployment rate. The unemployment claims is tentative because the government shenanigans that's still going on. But just keep in mind for these red folders at 8:30 a.m. We have home sales at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So if you are in a position or about to get in one, be mindful. And then Friday, just PMI data and consumer sentiment. So nice week with some decent news events to give us a push where we need to go. The week after this, it is going to be Thanksgiving week, so expect volume to potentially drop off. Pretty much all I have for you guys. Any questions, as always, let me know in the comments if this was helpful. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys for the next one. Enjoy your weekend.